What's up everyone? I am glad to announce not just one but many improvements to the timeline that you can find in the Remotion Studio. As you can see, the layout is now much more dense, making it possible to see more layers at once. And now there is also a distinction in color indicating whether an item is currently mounted at the current time. If the current time is before a sequence starts or if a sequence has already ended, then its React component is not actually mounted. This was always the case, but now we make it more visible. So if I scrub through this transition series, for example, you see the components which are mounted at a time, a very nice visualization of that. Each layer now has an eye icon next to it, and if you click on it, you can toggle the visibility of a layer. Although this will only affect the preview, it is pretty handy when you want to debug a layout. It also works with audio. You can mute it simply by clicking the icon. And if you want to hide multiple layers at once, you can click, hold, and slide down. Very satisfying. This is the coolest new feature. When you have enough space, then we will show you at which location in the code a sequence was rendered. So this sequence, for example, was rendered on line 11 of layers/index.tsx. I click on it and I directly jump to this location in the code. And if we add some more sequences to it, then as you can see, it is pretty fast to update. Here we have a transition series, and for each item inside the transition series, I can just click on it. These ones all have the same line number because it is inside a map statement. So really cool way to find in the code the item that is being rendered. Making this feature actually required me to come up with a pretty creative hack, so I think I will make another video explaining how I achieved this. Also, you can now click on the name of a audio or video track and you're able to preview the whole file in our new assets panel. You jump directly to it. A layer appears in the timeline when you are using the sequence component either directly or implicitly. And so we also made a nice improvement to the sequence component itself. Previously, you could shift the time by giving it a from and a duration in frames prop. But now you can also give it an explicit width and height. And by doing so, not only will the layout assume these dimensions, any child component that is rendered inside the sequence that calls the useVideoConfig hook and reads the width and height attributes will receive those values that you have passed to it. So in here, we are halving the width and the height, and then in here, we are halving it again, which should mean that the width and height has been quartered. And as you can see, this is exactly the case. I'll show you another real-life example where it makes more sense. Let's say we have a composition that is in widescreen format, and in here we want to embed another component, but this component was designed with a square aspect ratio, and it makes use of the useVideoConfig hook and assumes the dimensions to be square. And previously you would have trouble embedding this, but now you can just give the same width and height to the sequence that you would have given to the composition that you originally made for this component, and this improves nesting of visuals a lot. All of these features are now out in the latest Remotion update. run npx remotion upgrade to get them, and let me know what you think.